Good afternoon and welcome to this session. Today we'll be talking to you about how you can get the most out of your TM1 licenses. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Michael Mackey. I'm the Chief Technology Officer here at Mindfull. So I've been with the company for about 10 years now and really look after our product sets that we implement across the board, and also work with those products to create solutions from them, as we have worked with you guys to create a number of those. Today I'm going to be talking to you about changes to the IBM Cognos TM1 licensing as from the 10.22 release. There have been new capabilities that have come with it. Two of the most exciting ones are you now have an entitlement for your TM1 users to use Cognos BI when reporting off TM1. And you've also got a new client, which is Cognos Analysis for Excel, which can be used as an alternative to perspectives for at least some of your users. And really I'm going to talk about these components today and give you a bit of a demo too. If we just start with Cognos BI, what do you essentially get? Really it's around getting the BI capability for TM1 for free, and there's a number of benefits that come with this. I guess the key advantage of the BI platform is really it gives you an improved decision support system. So it gives you new ways to visualize your TM1 data. It gives you the ability to send out reports to users in your organization, provided they have the appropriate TM1 license. It gives you the ability to schedule, so you can have a report that goes out at a certain time. You can monitor your queues for to see if certain conditions are true. So you can monitor based on certain thresholds and trigger events if they're met. You've got the ability to deploy reports on mobile devices, and ultimately you use some of the dashboarding and visualization capability to monitor the performance of your organization on an ongoing basis. If we look at the specific license type and what their capabilities are, you do need to be up to date with your licensing structure. So effectively that means you need to be on named user licensing. The license changes come in when you install the 10.22 release. And there are various license types that come with that. The key ones are the TM1 modeler, which is essentially the admin license, and they ultimately have the ability to use Cognos BI to connect to data sources, to also administer the solution, to develop reports and organize the content for your users. You've also got the PM user, so that's typically your read-write user in your organization. They've got the ability to consume the various reports that are created. They can use the dashboards as well. With the BI environment, they can also look at reports and dashboards on mobile devices or have them sent to their inbox as well. And then there's a very similar capability for the TM1 Explorer, which your read-only users, they get exactly the same capability. There are some caveats around the use of BI. Really it has to be used so TM1 is the data source. So it's for reporting off TM1 to support your existing planning applications and some of the templates and reports that you have in Excel or you've got deployed to the web. Now you just have the ability to also add BI reports to report off TM1 as well. So you can use the Cognos BI componentry not only for authentication and connecting to data sources like some of you already do, but also just to create those reports and dashboards. If you did want to go direct to a source system and run Cognos BI off that directly, you wouldn't be able to do it under this entitlement the data would need to go through TM1 first, and then you would need to report off the TM1 data. So theoretically, you could bring in data and you could have a data mart essentially in TM1, which is really just a cube. It's a collection of data, and you could report off that. But obviously, it wouldn't be the best solution for some of your more transactional-based reporting. So they're just some caveats around using the new capability. The intention is it's used in support of TM1. Just to give you a demo of what Cognos BI looks like, and just to show you some of these capabilities, I'll just go and do that now. A real quick demo. But essentially, these screenshots sort of illustrate the different components. So with BI, you can deploy things, dashboards and visualizations, and reports on mobile devices. So whether it's your iPad or whether they're Android devices or whatever they are, you've got the capability to consume rich and interactive content. Here, this is an example of a dashboard, I guess. You're looking at trend time series data, so you can look at that over time. You've got some key metrics on the side, so you can track how your business is going. And you've got some more detailed information down here around employee details. So you can develop dashboards like that off your TM1 data. Over here, this is a plain old variance report. So, you can still produce, black and white reports if you did want to print them out, and you can run these in various formats. So you can run them in web formats or in Excel format, and you can send them out to people on a regular basis as well, provided they are users of TM1. Here, this just shows you how some of these reports are created and maintained. So underpinning the reports and dashboarding, the studios where the reports were actually developed. So here, your TM1 models can be exposed, and then you can use these interfaces just to build your reports off them. Okay, so if I just go through and do the demo now. So what I'm going to do is just show you one of our internal, or one of our models that we have developed. So this is the MyBI reporting model that we have, and this really shows you an example of how these dashboards are constructed and how you can use BI in conjunction with your TM1 applications that you have already. So ultimately, you have the ability to set up these dashboards. Here down the side, you can configure these so you've got a panel where you've got reports or TM1 applications that you can launch, and you can also bring in parameters, so you can just change your selection for the entire dashboard. If we look at the content area here, I guess the focus of these dashboards is to present key information to users easily, so they can just glance at that and then they can figure out, okay, do I want to delve deeper based on what they see? So here we've got some metrics information over here. So the key thing here is you can use these just to get that high-level view very, very quickly of your organisation or whatever you want to construct the dashboard for. And then you've got these more detailed reporting widgets. So here we've just picked out some things that people might be interested in. So you might be interested in looking at your revenue over time. Here we're looking at EBIT. Whatever it is, based on your TM1 data that you have, or TM1 models that you're going to develop in the future, you can create these reports and visualizations off them. Okay, so in terms of how you use these, so you can navigate straight to the dashboard as I did before, or there's actually a content or an organization layer underpinning these. So there's a folder structure similar to what you'd see in Windows, where all this content's effectively stored. So here I've got some report templates, or under these folders I might have various things. But that basically allows me to navigate my structure and bring in content and save it to various places. Over on the left-hand panel, so if I wanted to launch one of these reports, so let's say my balance sheet, with the BI reports, you can set them up so they've got prompts, or you can set up default values. So here I might want to run this for 2004 and actual. So once that report's been developed, I can launch that. You can still set up the reports so they've got filters or various selectors that you want to add. So I might want to run my balance sheet for a specific company. I've got the ability to do that, or I can toggle between years and so forth and essentially refresh my report. But that's an example of just a standard report that I can create. And from here, you know, I can also I can email this report to myself, or I can set it up on a schedule so I get that on a monthly basis or whatever the requirement is. So that's one type of report. We've also got our with Cognos BI, you can build more interactive style reports. So this is an example of a report that it can either be sent to your inbox, and it's got all the data encapsulated in it, so you can essentially interact with it. You can click on things. So if I'm interested in looking at, you know, cost of sales or revenue, I can select the appropriate line. And you know, that's a report that I can receive offline. I don't need to be connected to Cognos or TM1 in any way, but I've got all of my data available to me. And the same report I can consume on my mobile device and interact with it through the Cognos mobile application as well. So there's different types of reports depending on your requirements, and you know, essentially it fulfills both those standard reporting and those interactive reporting requirements. Down here I've got a list of my TM1 applications. So here I can just launch if I've got TM1 web applications, I can just launch them directly through here. So you've got this one place where you can access your reports and your TM1 content as well. Further down I've got some links where I can basically just navigate straight to TM1 Web if I want to use views to analyze my data and so forth. In terms of the content, all of this can be interacted with. So I've got this list of metrics on the side. I've just got the ability, I've added the selector down here, so I can customize this. So maybe I'm just interested in a couple of these key metrics. Maybe it's gross margin percentage and net profit are the only ones I want to see on a regular basis. So I've got the ability to select those and save my vision of the dashboard, and you can see that only those two metrics are shown. So there's quite a bit of flexibility that can be built into these. As well as that, I can click on these widgets here and I can interact with them as well. So for example, if I wanted to change my chart type, I've got these options here, and I can bring up a view. So Cognos gives some recommended chart types on how your data is structured. Here it's saying, okay, yeah, you could use a line chart. Even if I wanted to see the raw data, I could effectively, you know, transfer that to a table as well. And I've got a few different options there, so I can change it in that advanced panel, or I can select a line chart here, and my graph's updated accordingly. I can also expand that to full screen if I just want a little bit more room to work with and interact with these reporting widgets as well, and dive down. And if I click on this, I can also set up things like drill through reports too, so I can go from this view here to a more detailed view as well. And these are, the idea is, you know, this is a dashboard, but it's also a workspace. It's quite interactive. So if I decide, okay, well, I'm not interested in this, I can get rid of this here, and you know, maybe I have access to save my own version of this, and I want to create a new dashboard. I want to bring in some other content that I've got. So maybe I've got a report down here, a profit and loss variance, for example, and I can drag a table out of that report and onto here too. That one's potentially a little bit big, but you've got that ability too, so you can essentially, I'll just get rid of this one as well. You can essentially build these up however you want them. You can develop reports and then reuse the content within them to bring all this information into dashboards. So that's just a quick flavour of what you can do with the Cognos BI solution. and you can do that reporting off TM1 data. Yeah, so the next thing I wanted to touch on was really the new cafe add-in. So it's not brand new. It's been available for a couple of releases now, but obviously, as it's been developed, it's becoming more and more capable. Eventually, what they're doing with cafe is it will replace perspectives. When I say replace perspectives, they're including all the perspectives functionality that you have already in Cafe, so you can already use DBRW formulas and so forth. It'll just mean that you open up Cafe instead of opening up perspectives. And there's a number of reasons for that. Really, it allows you to work inside Excel. You don't have to go to the TM1 cube views and slice them out before you can interact with your data. But really the key feature is it's also optimized for the WAN, so you get very good performance with the Cafe client. And there's capability there for you to create your own views, similar to what you create in the cube viewer or even executive viewer if you've used that before. But you can also create your own reports, similar to what you currently do with slices and active forms as well. If we look at some of the capabilities, really what it's focused on is a client for your business users. There's typically, it's easier to get up to speed with how it works and how to actually use it. It's WAN optimized. All of your Excel spreadsheets can effectively be published to the Cognos BI content store, and that means you can have a folder in there where you can have a link of all of your reports, so you can essentially organize them in there and keep track of them as well. It doesn't require you having to turn automatic calculation mode off, and it allows you to copy and paste into formulas natively too. It also supports things like top-down planning and gives you the ability to get custom roll-ups of your data on the fly. If we look at the different license types as we did before, so you've got the admin user who's allowed to use the Cafe client, and you've also got your read-write users too, so they can use it for analysis, for reporting, and publishing content too. Your read-only users, however, cannot use the Cafe component. So if you have read-only users, you just need to be aware of that as well. So I'll just give you a demo, but I'll just flick back here. So there's essentially two types that we're going to look at, two types of reporting objects. You've got explorations similar to the cube viewer, and then you've got the functionality similar to what you have in TM1 now with respect to slices. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch Excel, and you'll see that I've just got this IBM Cognos plugin here. So you could have this plugin essentially instead of perspectives. And what I can do here is I can log on to one of my TM1 models. So I've got quite a few to choose from here. So I'm just going to select my planning sample database, and log in there. So once I've logged in, I've got the ability just to select a cube that I want to bring data from. So if I come in here, so you'll see I've got this, it's all driven through this panel on the right hand side. So it's all in Excel. You don't need to go to TM1 Server Explorer to look at your reports and start developing content in Excel. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select my budget plan cube here, and this will bring through all the content. So I've got my views, I've got my private views and so forth. All of these are available to me. And what I can do from here is I can take one of these. So let's say I want to take my budget input total, and I'll grab that one, budget input detailed report, and I want to bring that in here. So I can just drag that onto the canvas. And that'll automatically create what we refer to as a flex view, which is kind of similar to a slice. If I did, however, want to create a crosstab, I just need to select the crosstab option, and this is similar to view in TM1, and I just drag the view on. So that basically gives me my view in Excel, and I've got my row elements, so this controls what's displayed on the side. I've got my column selectors at the top, so this controls what comes through here, and then I've got my context filters or my title elements, if you're familiar with working in TM1 views. And I can change my selections here similar to what I'd do in views. So if I want to look at Germany, I can look at Germany, for example. And very much I interact with these things in much the same way as I would with the Cube Viewer, except it's actually in Excel. If I select, let's say I wanted to make some changes to the chart of accounts over here, so by default I can obviously move these things around. So I can move things onto columns or rows like the Cube Viewer. I can also toggle my aliases on and off as well. So if I wanted to see this in Swedish, I could do that as too. And just a key observation, when you're working with Cafe, so natively it doesn't have formulas in here. So it returns your data, but you don't have those DBRW formulas in the background. It's just aware of the area that your report occupies. So let's change that back to, let's go for the ID at this stage. Oh, there we are. I'll change it back to English. So I can make changes through changing my selections here. I can also click in here and I might say, okay, I want to drill up or drill down, expand or collapse levels. I've got the ability to do things like that as well. So that's how I essentially manipulate my view. One of the great things here is I've got the ability to not only select from these different items here, I can also refine my selection. So if I want to set up a specific view that I want other users to interact with, I can click on Edit Set, and I might say, okay, I only want UK and Germany in there. I don't want to show everything. And you'll see in here I've just got those two things to select from, and I can toggle between them, and I can also sum those two things up on the fly as well. So you've got the ability to do that, and that just creates a consolidation in the background that allows you to view that like a virtual consolidation. So I can do that. I can interact with it by changing these selectors here. I can also drag in, so if I've got all my dimensions down here, so I might say, well, actually what I want to do is I want to change what I've got displayed in here, but I don't want to have to select them all. So let's just take this subset that's been set up for me, and then I can drag that on and I can see those that view there. Or maybe I just want to run with the default. I've got the ability. Oops. That one's the same, I think. Summary review chart of accounts. Got the ability to drag that in as well. So I can manipulate what I'm looking at like that via this pane here. Or maybe I want to drag in a completely different view. So I might want to drag in my budget input detail view, for example. I can essentially just replace my current view like that. Okay, so ultimately, these are views similar to what you'd see in TM1, but I can manipulate these as well. So I can add in things like calculations. So here I might just want to get the difference between two numbers. So let's say April minus May. I can add a calculation in which allows me to do that. So I can do that on the rows and columns as well. And they're all, they all dynamically expand and so forth. If I wanted to add in, if I wanted to format this a bit differently, maybe I want a gap in between cost of sales and my other items, so I've got the ability to do that too. So I can add in these lines, and then when I refresh that report, they won't be overwritten. Okay, I've also got the ability, if I want to enter data through Cafe as well. So this works similar to TM1. So here, I've got this number here, 894. I might say, okay, I want to change that to 900. Essentially, that doesn't get committed until I click on the tick. But once I've done that, I get prompted to preview my changes, and I can get a history of everything I changed, which is quite neat. And then I can submit that if I want to as well. So I've got the ability to make those changes and also enter data at a consolidated level as well. So here I can sum up data on the fly, and let's say I want to change that to 30,000, and I want to change it to total business unit, and then I want to change it to 8,000, for example, and then commit that. Sorry, I clicked on the refresh instead of the commit button. But basically that'll accept that as well. So I can do top-down planning through these views as well. But that's ultimately what you can do to analyze content through here. Each tab would have a different view essentially on it, but I can obviously change the view accordingly. Yeah, the other option we've got is using flex views. So if I just take that same report, so let's say I grab that, drag it into here. This is more similar to what you're probably used to working with slices. You know, these are just like slices, except they don't have formulas underneath them. So I can insert rows. I can effectively change my formatting if I wanted to. So let's say I want to just take off the borders and ensure there's, just change it to white. Maybe I want to change the headers to a different color, red for example. Maybe I want to delete this content down here, I only want the top area. I can essentially interact with these similar to how I've been interacting with slices with TM1. I can also change what I've got selected here. So if you right click on something, you'll see that that context menu appears, comes up with IBM Cognos Analysis. And what I can really do here is I can use this replace member selection. So here I'm looking at UK. Maybe I want to look at Europe and North America as well. Maybe I want to take that one out of there. Click OK. So what that does by default is it just gives you a validation for that and allows you to toggle between these things quite easily. I can also just type in the value and I'd see a similar result to what I'm used to on TM1 too. I mean, if I, for example, it's still based on, even though there's not a formula here, if, for example, I have February above that one, that would report on February's numbers. So it's still based on getting the context of where the data point sits with the elements on the page. If I click on here, I can also go to cell properties, and then I can get the context for that, which is similar to what I'll get from the formula tracer before. So I can see the version that I'm looking at as plan budget for this data value, Europe, direct, and so forth. That defines the data point I'm looking at. And just really quickly, if I wanted to add in other views, I can just drag them in and I can link them as well. So here I've got a view. Maybe I want to make this one point to Europe too. I can just add a link on the formula there. And then when I change one, you'll see the other one updates as well. So that really just gives you a really quick overview of what Cafe looks like, and hopefully sort of gives you some clarity on how you could use it in, instead of perspectives. I've just got a quick table just to contrast the two. I guess there's pros and cons to everything. So the TM1 Perspectives client is very flexible and very familiar to a lot of users. The key issues with it are if you've got people based in different regions or different areas, then you won't get good performance unless you implement Citrix or you deploy your applications on the web. Using Excel and that sort of setup with the Perspectives client just doesn't work very well. It's not optimized. With Cafe, you'll get very similar performance based on wherever your users are. It essentially uses web services just to transfer the data backwards and forwards, and it's they're very sort of streamlined packages that it's using to transfer back and forth to the server when it's just returning some data and displaying it in the views and so forth. Cafe, ultimately, once you've had some training in it, it's very easy to develop content. It's optimized for the WAN, obviously, and you've got the ability to, if you want to use some BI reports, you've got the ability to publish the Cafe content to the Cognos content store, so you can organize all your reports, whether they're Excel-based ones or BI ones, into the same portal. So that's quite useful too. And you'll find at the moment it supports most TM1 formulas. DB-Send formulas are not currently available, so that's one limitation. And doing the dynamic expand and collapse that we do on active forms isn't currently available, although you do have the analysis, the crosstabs to work with that I showed you, which can dynamically expand and collapse the content. Can't currently publish your reports to TM1 Web. Rather, you just create links to your Cafe reports in the BI portal. But really, that sort of concludes this quick session, just to show you what's new in terms of licensing. We'll be sending out a link to the webinar. It's been recorded. And any questions that you ask, we'll basically send out the responses to those as a group, or either directly, depending on what it is too. And I guess, from now, by all means, reach out to me if you're interested in some of the content you saw and want more information on it, or talk to your consultants or account managers and so forth. If you need any verification around your licensing entitlement, just again, reach out to me. And if you say, well, this is great, I want to use Cafe and I want to use BI right now, just talk to us around whether the components are already set up, or what you need to do to get up and running with those. Or I guess alternatively, if you just want some advice on what sort of things could we do with BI for your organisation, just talk to us too. But thank you very much for attending, and I'll close out the session now.